Humans aren't wired to be happy, they are wired to be comfortable. Most of the people, they could change at any given moment, at any given time, yet they are so often complaining about their lives, complaining about their circumstances, their career. They're unfulfilled, they're unhappy, they do not live the life that they actually deep down crave, and yet they're still not changing. And I didn't understand why there are so many people who refuse to do the inner work, who refuse to work on themselves, to reflect, to just, crave more and to actually go after it. But it is because we are wired to be comfortable and not wired to actually know how to become happy. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alina, and in today's video, I'm going to share a little bit more about energy healing, about the fact or the reasons why people aren't changing in their life, and what they need to do in order to actually create that change. What you need to do in order to deal with your feelings and to really move forward in your life, and releasing all those self-sabotaging habits that we sometimes have, and how you can actually become aware of those self-sabotaging habits. So as I said, human beings are not wired to be happy. We are wired to stay in our comfort zone. We are wired, like our body or nervous system or brain is wired to protect us from danger, from change, from the unknown, from uncertainty. And the reason why changing feels so hard is because it is uncomfortable, and many people are afraid of the unknown. They don't know what is coming when they're actually going to change. A lot of people, they crave success, crave money, crave, fulfilling a relationship, but if it is something that they have never experienced in their life, maybe their body is actually wired to protect them, to move forward, to take risks in life, to, change themselves, to change habits, to change train of thoughts, and to do all those things that are necessary in order to actually move closer to their goals. Because the body and the brain is just wired to, let's not move forward. Like, this is uncertain, this is dangerous. And like hundreds and thousands of years ago, that was actually a great thing because we were constantly in danger. Like, we were hunting animals, we were dealing with wars and all these kind of things. But in today's day and age, where usually for most people, it is safe and secure to change themselves and to move forward in their life and to go after their goals and desires and dreams. Yet a lot of people are still not able to do that because it just feels so uncomfortable. People that experience being uncomfortable, they put it on the same page as things to be wrong and like not feeling good. And therefore they stop the change before they even actually started because it just feels so uncomfortable for them. In life, we're not held back because we're incapable of making change. We just usually do not feel like making change because it just doesn't feel good to change our habits, to do something different and to consistently do it and to really do it with determination and with commitment and with really like passion and fire and thrive and developing that discipline, because usually people only change when they're truly motivated to change. But when is that motivation actually occurring? It is usually occurring when people are hitting rock bottom, when people are exposed to a certain lifestyle that they do not want at all, and where their back is so against the wall that they have no other option to change. Usually that is the only reason why people are changing, when they feel like, okay, like there's no other option. There's no other option of actually me working on myself and facing my issues and really working through them. Usually, other than that, people are not really changing. And I experienced that a lot of times in my career as a digital entrepreneur. When people are coming to me, they wanting to create additional streams of income, they want to make all the money, they want to become successful. And when they are at a job, let's say, and they have, they're kind of comfortable, like they do not make the kind of money they want to make, they cannot fulfill their goals, they cannot spoil themselves, they cannot support their family and themselves sometimes even, but still, they having such a hard time to take risks, to invest money, to invest time, to invest effort, to develop discipline and determination to fulfill their goals and to really go after what they want and start, a side hustle, start a business and actually work on themselves, work on their mindsets. That's because usually a lot of people, they're very comfortable with where they're at, even if they do not even enjoy where they're at, or to have the illusion of safety. Because usually in today's day and age, if you, for example, you have one stream of income, it's not safe. Like, let's be honest. For most people, having one stream of income, it's not going to cut it anymore. So many people, I talk to people on a daily basis and they're coming to me and telling me they have a job, but cost of living is rising so much that they barely can cover their basic needs, that they cannot go on vacation, that they cannot do the things that they actually want to do. Yet there's still people that are having second guesses and second thoughts when it comes to making a move and when it comes to really going after their goals. Why is that? Because it is uncertain, because people want to have like a guarantee for everything today. It's so crazy to me, because nothing in life, like I always knew, even before I started my business, I always knew nothing in life is guaranteed. Only death is literally guaranteed. Like at some point, you never know when it's gonna happen and how it's gonna happen. But the only thing in life that is truly guaranteed is that you're gonna die at a certain point. Okay, like let's be honest, nothing else in this life is ever guaranteed. It is not guaranteed to, go study and pay loan on your study costs and to, pay for your degree and then to get a job. It's not certain or guaranteed that you will, when you find a job, then will actually forever stay in that job. If you are going into a relationship or a marriage, it is never guaranteed that that marriage is gonna last. Nothing is ever guaranteed to last. Yet there are so many people, when it comes to really going out there and fulfilling their goals, they have such a hard time to understand that nothing in life is guaranteed, and they expect things to be handed to them and to have that stamp of guarantee. So people have this kind of fixed mindset and this fixed mentality of, well, if it's not guaranteed, I'm not going to do it. They don't understand that nothing else that they also do right now in their lives is even guaranteed to last, because that job that they're currently having could be taken away from them in a second. I experienced that with a friend. Like, she had a 6-figure job. She had a solid income for years and years. She worked her butt off for that company, generated millions of sales for that company. And then from one day after the other, she was actually a very close friend of mine, and we're working together in digital marketing right now. And that job was taken away from her while she was literally sitting at her grandfather's funeral. And that woman that she worked for, she was actually a friend. Yet she fired her out of nowhere for no freaking reason. And that job that she got, that she built so solid over the last couple of years, was just taken away from her. And I told her, because I've been actually working with her in network marketing before, and she had a side hustle already, but she stopped at a certain point because it was too overwhelming for her. And I was telling her constantly about digital marketing, how much money you can make and the great opportunity it is. And she was so hesitant to change. She was so hesitant to actually do it. And then I think like 2 months ago, she actually started it. And now she regrets that she didn't start sooner. And she was actually telling me, even though she had already a business kind of mentality and an entrepreneurship kind of mentality, she was telling me she felt so uncomfortable with that uncertainty and not knowing what that, new side hustle is going to bring her, that she refused to start with it for such a long time. And the fun thing is with this, that most people are never regretting things that they do. They only regret things that they didn't do. It's with everything. And it's so crazy, because most of the people, they are still not changing. I have people that are watching me for years and years. And I had a girl, just like, I think it was a few weeks ago, she told me that she is following me since 3 years already. 3 years. And she has never started anything. She always kept on asking for information, but she never actually started something. And that was not because she was incapable or less talented or whatever. She was just too comfortable in her situation. But she was telling me now that she had a job and she actually got fired. So now that she had her back against the wall, that was the first time when she decided, well, maybe like now I actually need to change. Like, there's no other option. Maybe I should try what I actually wanted to try for 3 years. And that's with so many people. When it comes to things that they want, they are refusing to change. They're refusing to do something else and to try different, to take risks in their life, just because it feels uncomfortable and they're having certain fears and it's not guaranteed, until their back is against the wall, that they have no other option but to actually look for other solutions. And I'm here to encourage you and to tell you that you should start looking for options and opportunities and other things, like things that you really desire and things that you want to do, before it is too late, before you have a regret, before you are having no other option but to change in that certain moment when something else was taken away from you. It is also the same with people. When we are having people around us that we are not really appreciating, Usually, and it's very sad, guys, we only appreciate things when they're taken away from us. I should always appreciate the people that are around me in the moment that they're there and not when they're gone. That I should always thrive for opportunities and taking risks and doing things like I have such a desire, like a burning desire to try as many things as possible in this lifetime and to just fulfill myself, fulfill all my different facets of myself and try a lot of passions and just try things out. Because in the end, guys, like no one actually cares if you're ever gonna fail with anything, but you will always regret the things that you didn't do. And I do not want to have any regrets in life anymore. I do not want to like sit there and be like, man, if I would have just tried this, if I would have just given it one more shot, if I would have just, took that risk, if I would just, talk to that person. That's why I'm so big on like, if you really crave change, if you really want to do something, you have to freaking go out there and do it now. Like time is going to pass anyways. So what better way to actually use that time now and make the best out of it? So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about like self-sabotaging habits, because I believe like we all have them, especially when it comes to people that don't like to make decisions, that procrastinate a lot, that are very perfectionistic, that are very perfectionistic. Is that a word? Perfectionism. That's a word, at least. If you are a perfectionist, okay, and you have like those issues there where you're kind of like stopping yourself and you feel like consciously you want something, but then subconsciously you're constantly like holding on to your past and you're not really like able to actually go after what you want. So that is closely related to change, I believe, because so many people, they crave that change, but they don't want to do it. So I'm going to try to explain it now through that habit of self-sabotaging, because that is very common for people when they're not able to change. What actually means self-sabotaging? It basically means that you have a conscious desire, but an unconscious fear or need that needs to be fulfilled, an emotional attachment to your past, and therefore you're constantly sabotaging yourself to grow, to do certain things, to procrastinate, to focus so much on perfectionism in order to create something. So what we do when we're self-sabotaging ourselves, we are hindering ourselves from our growth, we are hindering ourselves from change, and letting the fear and the emotional attachment that we have to our past actually overrun us, take the control of us. And that's why we're not able to change. That's why we're so attached to that past, because our ego is identifying with certain things, right? Every single time that you would say, I am. And I call it the I am trap. If you are in the I am trap, you are constantly identifying with a certain narrative that you keep on telling yourself. For example, I am so broke. I am never ever gonna be in love. I am not able to afford this. I am not able to do this. I am incapable. Anything that you claim after the I am is your identification with a certain situation, character trait, feeling, whatever. But you have to realize that we are spiritual beings. We are not our thoughts, not our body. We are not our feelings. We're not our habits. We have a program, okay? And we are operating in this physical realm on that program. It has been conditioned through our experiences, through our past, through trauma, whatever, right? But we are more than that. We are actually spiritual beings. We are multi-dimensional beings. We are limitless being. There's endless amount of possibilities in the quantum realm. We have so much access to all of that. We are actually consciousness if we are able to tap into that. So we are not just the negative story that we keep on telling ourselves of like why we cannot achieve certain things based on our past, because that past is already gone. But when you usually tell yourself these things, you realize that you have an emotional attachment to that past because you identify yourself with it. The ego always does that because the ego needs to identify yourself with something because that causes you that identity. And if you would basically not identify with those things like your trauma, the story, the narratives, everything that you constantly tell yourself after the I am, you basically have no personality. The ego doesn't like that. The ego wants to be like in that safe bubble of identifications, of narratives and stories. In order to realize that you have those emotional attachments and that you're subconsciously basically stopping yourself from creating things and changing and self-sabotaging yourself, you have to realize the kind of destructive narratives that you keep on telling yourself, like writing your negative thoughts down, your negative feelings. I do that since a while, and especially last week I felt a little bit emotional, and I had a lot of like emotional outbursts. Let's say like I was feeling a little bit frustrated and kind of like drained. So what I did was that in those moments where I had those negative thoughts, I would write down my thoughts, literally exactly the thoughts that I was thinking in that certain moment. And most of the time it was so funny, like I was becoming the observer because I was obviously writing down. So I read what I wrote, and I was sometimes like reading what I wrote, and I was like, this is so crazy. This is not even real. It's so crazy that I'm feeling this way. And I felt so dense and like such a tension in my body. It felt so like, oh, like I just wanted to like release and break out, and it was just so crazy. And I'm gonna tell you what you can do in order to release that stuck up energy. When it comes to manifestation, healing, mindset work, inner work, like growing your personality, developing yourself, so many people always focus on the mental aspect of things. Let's say speaking the affirmations, right? Like just doing more things, like taking more action. And I'm telling you, as we are spiritual beings, as I just said, and we have this energetic field around us, and we have different layers of energy around us in our aura field, like however you want to call it, the chakras, energetic field, like it is physics as well, it's quantum physics, like we have this energetic field around us, everything is frequency, everything moves, everything is in motion. So what you need to realize is that we have, based on our emotional attachment, the trauma we've been through, past experiences, the feelings that we have, the thoughts that we have, everything has that certain frequency. So everything is, energy. So when we are these energetic beings, you also have to realize that energy healing is a very, very big aspect you need to keep in mind when it comes to healing, growing, changing yourself. The funny thing is, when you try to heal yourself energetically, it's like you have to imagine like a water bottle, okay? And like a water bottle, a small water bottle, and in the bottom is a lot of sand. And sand is like dense, so it will float down, right? But if you shake the bottle and the sand is like spreading in the water, and then you have all this like sand inside of the water, like in between, and it's like starting to fall down again, it feels like it all gets shaken up, right? So if you try to energetically heal yourself, if you try to move past those emotional attachment, if you try to change, you are shaking up energy. And the mind, like we have mind, body, soul, right? There's different layers. So the mind tries to understand that process and tries to process that process. As we cannot really like touch it or explain it, but we just feel dense and we feel like the tension in our body, and we feel like something has to be released because we feel those emotions are rushing inside of our body. That's when you know that there's something going on, like energetically there's something going on. Like you feel like you're like emotional, right? You feel drained, you feel like, oh, you feel like this dense energy. So that is the sign that energetically there's something happening inside of your body. And the reason why it feels so hard and so tough and so just difficult to change is because we are so conditioned to not feel our feelings. We're so conditioned to just put it aside, to distract ourselves, right? Like there's so many people, and I was a person, I used to do that all the time when I was feeling like emotional and like, I don't know, I was tearing up because of something. What I did was I tried to like clean something. I tried to distract myself with cleaning. I tried to just, like put things together and just like distract myself and not feel it. And it got me feeling good for a while because it distracted myself and I stopped crying or I stopped being emotional. But that did not release the energy. That did not solve the issue. So the energy was floating down, like the sand was floating down in the bottle, right? Again, and it was settling. So the next time I try to like move forward, try to, release something, try to change myself, the bottle got shaken again. And so it was floating around again. And I did not deal with it. So when you do that often, and when you do that like repeatedly, that you do not deal with those emotions because you don't like to feel them, because obviously feeling fear, anger, depression is a feeling that is very uncomfortable. But I'm going to tell you a trick, what you can do in order to be in the feeling, feel it, and let it pass. For example, if you wake up in a bad mood and you're feeling low on energy and you're just feeling exhausted even though you just slept, it is just to show you that there's something that needs your attention. Any single time that there's a trigger showing up, any single time we would feel bad, it is there, this feeling is there because it needs your attention. But we are so conditioned to constantly keep going and to not deal with it, to suppress it, to just keep going, like distracting ourselves with things, and it gets pushed down. And imagine now you have a carpet and you put all those like dust, right? All those sand underneath the carpet constantly. Like it's getting bigger and bigger. And at some point you cannot help it, but you're going to stumble across it. Like at one point you have to deal with it and you have to clean it up. And that's why change feels so hard and why it feels so dense to go through it, because we are not taught these kind of things. We are not taught to feel our feelings. Literally in school, like you're not taught how to feel your feelings. You're not taught how to deal with emotions. Usually, people, when they're having emotional outbursts, they get taught like, shut up, stop crying, don't overreact, like don't do those things. And I know I'm talking a lot about emotional intelligence and this has nothing to do with it. Like you can practice to deal with your emotion and to feel your emotions, but to also release those triggers, those energetic trash cans, basically, where you collect all that dust and all those bad feelings for a long time, and then you have to like clean it up, right? But how you can deal with it is to learn how to feel them in the right way, to learn how to stop coping with like procrastination or distracting yourself and, having emotional outbursts and being like super overreactive. You can deal with those emotions to just release them right away in that moment. And I'm going to tell you a story because the other day I was feeling very dense and I had just like a lot of emotional outbursts because I think like 2 days before I done some energy healing and I was just feeling like a lot of stuff coming up and like thoughts coming up, feelings coming up, and just like energy, kind of like stagnant energy kind of like coming up, right? So I was feeling just super restless. Restless is the right word. Yes, I was feeling super restless. I just wanted to like do something and distract myself. But I was like, no, I was going outside. I was sitting on the balcony and I was just feeling the emotions. I was just feeling this uncomfortable feeling of tears coming up and like, energy releasing throughout my body through the tears, right? And having goosebumps all around my body. But in that moment, I stopped judging my feelings and I stopped trying to push them away. I was just letting them be, and I actually became a witness or observer. I used to say Sherlock Holmes of your own feelings, of your own emotions. And I was just like tuning into my body and asking myself, where's that feeling coming from? And I felt it on my chest. Like I felt it just like pressure on my chest. And I was asking myself, okay, like what is coming up right now? And I realized that I have a little bit of anxiety for the future. And I told myself, instead of judging myself, like, why, this is so stupid, why am I having this feeling right now, it's so dumb, like, ugh, like judging myself, I was just telling myself, it's okay. It's okay. It's valid that I have this feeling, it's valid that I have this fear, it's valid that I'm going through this right now, and it's okay. Like, it can be here. And I kid you not, in like 1 or 2 minutes, this feeling was gone. I stopped crying, I felt immediately better. I started breathing and I was just like, wow, that was easy. I felt so much better. And I literally could feel the energy, the dense energy was leaving my body. Like I just took like an energy cleanse shower or something. Like all that sand was like washed away from me. And I felt so much better. I had so much more energy again. And this is what you can do when you are feeling this dense kind of energy, when you are feeling super emotional, when you feel like you're not willing to make that change right now. Ask yourself, what is actually holding you back? Like focus on your heart center, breathe in and breathe out, do that box breathing that I explained in one of my previous videos, and ask yourself, why am I feeling this resistance right now? Where's this resistance coming from? Is it my stomach? Is it my heart? Is it in my mind? Like where is it coming from? And why am I feeling this way? And then acknowledge that feeling be like, it's okay if I feel this fear, if I feel this anxiety, it's okay if I don't want to change. I know it's uncertain, but it is okay and it's going to be okay. And I'm going to do it anyways. And this is how you literally take control back in that certain moment when you do not want to take a risk, when you do not want to just do something else, when you do not want to do those uncomfortable things that your ego wants to keep you in that safe space. And those are the moments when you become so aware and so self-aware and so conscious. And only in those moments you have the power of free will. Because when we are unconscious, when we're not knowing why we're procrastinating, why we're having such perfectionism, why we're like reacting the way we do, why we're overreacting all those things, why we have those emotional attachments and sabotaging ourselves, we cannot change because we're not conscious about them. We're not taught these kind of things. We're not, asking the right questions. And this is how you can snap out of it and actually become conscious. And that's when you're going to have a choice again. Feeling means healing. So if you want to heal something, if you want to release energy, you need to be able to allow it in your energetic field, to not push it away and to not distract yourself, to sit with it, be still, and then let it go again. It is really easy if you learn how to do this, if you learn how to do this frequently. If you you have to repeat it, it takes some practice to do this, but I'm experiencing that on myself. There was a time when I could not understand myself. There was a time when I just always wanted to distract myself. There was a time when I could not be still and with myself. I always wanted to be around friends and around people because I could not be alone with my thoughts and feeling because it was so overwhelming. But now I really give myself allowance and permission to be with my feelings. And even if it feels tough and hard and uncomfortable, I allow these feelings to be there, embrace them, send love to them, and then release them. And those negative feelings are passing so much faster because it's not built up energy, because I'm dealing with it right in that moment when it appears, sending love to it, asking myself where it's coming from, and then I can work specifically on that issue of why it's coming up. I can release the triggers, and then I can move forward and create that change that I want to create without actually sabotaging myself all the time and holding so desperately on that known past, that familiar past, and that emotional attachment that I have with certain results or past experiences. So if you're willing to take your issues and problems and see them as a catalyst, that is when you can truly make change. I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Mountain Is You by Brianna Weiss. And she was talking about just as volcanoes need implosions and stars need to collapse, human beings need to be faced with challenges, triggers, and just hitting rock bottom in order to actually transmute and transform themselves into better. If we wouldn't have these triggers and challenges and problems, we would not even thrive for better in the first place, because as I said, we are wired to be comfortable and not being happy. That trigger is showing you the way to your wound. The wound is showing you the path that you need to take, and the path is leading you to your destiny. So you need to have that trigger, that wound, in order to actually get to where you want to be. That's literally the beauty of personal growth and why I find this so fascinating, because everything bad is always connected to something good. After every single down will always come an up. So yes, I always say be delusional and create your life based on delusion. Sometimes you gotta face and stop being in denial of the issues that you have, because only if you're actually facing it, you can become free and you can start dealing with them. If you're ready to truly transform yourself and become that most empowered version of yourself, then get access to the Inner Bloom platform, the most transformative platform to love, grow, and heal yourself, with over 70 plus coaches and therapists that are teaching you about self-awareness, self-concept work, mindset and manifestation, and spiritual growth. So guys, that was my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you're new on my channel, then definitely subscribe so you don't miss out on any other videos. If you have any topic suggestions, put them down below. If you have any questions, put them also down below. Thank you so much for all your guys' support. It literally means the world to me. And by the way, we're 14,000 subscribers here on my channel. I am so grateful to see this community grow and change. And I always say family, because I believe we're all connected, and there's no coincidence. If you are watching this video, you need to hear it. This is what you need to work on. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I see you guys in my next video. Bye.